Good evening VC, good evening YouTube, good evening record collectors and music lovers and anyone who might happen to find themselves watching this video. It's been a long time since I made my last video and now I finally have vacation, the house to myself, and I thought why not go ahead and make the video about the progressive psychedelic and the music scene in general from Sweden in the late 60s and early 70s. I found a great pile of records. I've been familiar with the Swedish music scene for quite a while and have been collecting and listening to the music of that time from that country for a number of years, and I got some records to recommend for you. And as Ron from Hog's Ear Report suggested, I will today try to show some of the cover art and the gatefold spread and labels, and if there are anything extras inside the covers. So it should take quite a while to get through the pile. But anyway, let's get started. By the way, if you hear some music in the background, it's Bo Hansson, The Lord of the Rings. I will show that album to you later. But let's start with an obscure band which never really made any records in their time, in their day, but which are released later on, the Baby Grandmothers. They made a few recordings in the late 60s, I believe it was in 67 or 68. This is very psychedelic, heavy, Hammond organ driven psychedelic rock, as I mentioned. A great album. This was released on Subliminal Records in 2007. And it's made up of 2 LPs on the label, and it comes with an insert with the history of the band. Actually, it's the original inner sleeves, printed inner sleeves with the story of the band and some pictures. A 2 record set. I think they are still available in record shops and of course on Discogs. Just a great obscure band from the late 60s there. Here's the label and a swirlish label on the other side. A little reminiscent, what's it called? It looks a bit like the Vertigo swirl label. Subliminal Records, that is, the Baby Grandmothers. Check them out. I think you find some examples on YouTube. Great record. The next band I want to show is a band that had some association to Jimi Hendrix, actually. It was an organ and drums duo called Hansen and Carlsen. They made their debut album, this one, Momentum, in 1967. And this is fairly wild. Blues, jazz, prog psychedelia with only Hammond organ and drums. As you can tell from the cover, this is a psychedelic experience. Very fine album indeed. Everything is instrumental, just Hammond organ and the drum set. But still, it flows and it's a fairly filled soundscape on the classic Polydor label. This is a Swedish pressing, original pressing, and they're quite affordable. If you can find one in good nick, you should grab one. They were reissued in 2013, I guess, for the record store day. Exact repros. which are also quite affordable. I really recommend Hansson and Karlsson Momentum. Their second album was released in 1968. It's called Rex, and it's a live album. This is a single cover, no gatefold here, also released on the Polydor label. Just psychedelic, wild, instrumental, blues, jazz, prog, call it whatever you want. Wonderful album, wonderful live band. I forgot to mention the association with Jimi Hendrix. They made a track on this LP, Momentum, called Tax Free. And they jammed with Jimi Hendrix at some clubs in Sweden. And Hendrix liked the tune Tax Free and played it himself a number of times. It's been recorded live, and it was recorded in the studio as well on the War Heroes album. So go check out Jimi Hendrix's version of Tax Free and then Hansson and Karlsson's version. Really groovy song. Hansson and Karlsson made one more LP in 1969 called Man at the Moon. This was their last album before they broke up. This is even more psychedelic and experimental than both Momentum and Rex. It has some recital moments and sound collages, fairly experimental. Just a wonderful cover design there. Just beautiful. This is an it's the lamination is still crackling. It's just like new, this one, an original from 1969. This is actually an English pressing. They got some attention, not commercial success, but some attention, and some of their records were pressed and distributed through Europe actually. And can still be found, as I said, for affordable prices, even the originals. Wonderful organ and drums duo from the late 60s, Hansson and Karlsson. After Hansson and Karlsson split up, Bo Hansson, the organ player, went on his own and had a fairly commercial successful solo career. And his first album was called Sargam om ringen, or in English, The Lord of the Rings. This was actually a million seller when it was released in 1971, I guess. This is the Swedish original on Silence Records before it was a hit, and was distributed through, I think it was Parlophone in the rest of Europe. And I guess I believe it also was released in the United States. This is a dreamy psychedelic record, almost non-percussive. Everything is instrumental, just dreamy psychedelia. Wonderful stuff on the original Silence label, a Swedish record company. If you want to listen to Bo Hansson, I think the Lord of the Rings album is the way to start. It's the album to start off with. Wonderful stuff. And this is also quite affordable if you need an original copy. But then again, what's an original copy? It might be a Dutch copy, an English copy, and they're quite cheap. The Swedish ones are getting a bit more pricey, but not too bad actually. Bo Hansson released some more records through the 70s. This is his second effort, Magician's Hat, or in Swedish, Ur Trollkarlens Hatt. This is the English pressing. This wasn't by far as successful as its preceded, but a very good album. I may say. I find it very enjoyable. Same standard, same quality as the Lord of the Rings album, but not as successful. Bo Hansson was quite a strange character. He wasn't too fond of the attention he got from Hansen and Carlsen and the success of Lord of the Rings. He went more or less into exile and disappeared from the music scene after a while. But he released 2 more albums, and this is 3 more albums, I guess. And this is his 3rd or 4th, I'm not sure. It's called Mellanväsen, and this was only released in Sweden. Continuing the path of dreamy instrumental music, quite psychedelic. And this is a late one. This is from sorry, I think it's from 1975 or something. A little bit out of time, you could say. This was released on Silence as well, which had now changed to a bit more psychedelic label design. I think it was 75. Well, it doesn't matter. It's a wonderful record, but no, I don't think this music was hit when it was released. 1974, 1975, yes. Well, then the prog scene had exploded, and everything was supposed to be complicated and up-tempo, tempo changes and brilliance all the way through. While Bo Hansson was a quiet person, which reflected in his music. But a wonderful piece of music, this one. Well, as I said, after a couple more albums, Bo Hansson drifted into exile and went off the music scene altogether. He had some gigs before he sadly died a few years back, and is highly regarded as a musician in the Swedish and Scandinavian music scene.